What's up, everybody? Welcome to Respawn Aim Fire, episode 170 plus 8. For all of you mathematicians at home, that's right, we are almost to 180. For all of you literary experts at home, stop trying to do math. Everyone, I'm Chad Michaelinis, one of your hosts. This is Holden DePardo.
Hi, my name's
That's
Holden
what his
DePardo.
voice sounds like. And
Hi.
we are the Kick-Ass Irreverent Gaming Podcast, brought to you by Affable Idiots. We have the dreamiest fan base, Holden, of all time. I don't know if you've seen pictures of our fan base. You can see them from the moon, and they just look like adorable corgis. That's all.
And
of
they're
our
all like
fans.
a little like cloud beds floating around in the sky.
It's
just
true.
Like in dreams.
It's true, just like in the game Dreams. Every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Eastern Time, you can put us in your ears with your favorite podcast service. You can put us in your eyeballs with your favorite YouTube service by going to youtube.com/cockaman. That's what we are.
That's it.
Because you guys didn't subscribe enough. And then you can also break the time-space continuum by watching us right now, live, in person, with coronavirus masks on, virtually, on your space pod, by going to twitch.tv/affableidiots every Sunday night at around 8:30 Eastern, with the exception of next Sunday. We will be on Monday next week. Holden, you look like you really needed to say something.
Yeah, just so everyone's very clear here, we aren't wearing masks, but we are social distanced by hundreds of miles, so it's probably okay.
If I could walk 1,000 miles... No, what is that song? If I could sun into the
I know
sky,
exactly what
do you
you're
think
talking
time
about.
would pass me by? Because you know I'd walk 1,000 miles if I could just see you. Oh my God. Did she get that from the
COVID
Proclaimers?
version of that is if I walk 1,000 miles to be
500 miles
within
I
6
would
feet of
walk
you.
500 more just to be the man. Oh my God. Yes. Holden, she totally ripped off the Proclaimers. Or maybe it's just an homage. In our Twitch chat, you can be watching us right now, just like RX Awesome Dude 10, who says, you want to become famous? Buy followers, primes, and views at bigfollows.com. Yes, we read out a non-sponsored comment on the air. Everyone, here's the thing. Today we have so much Xbox news to talk about. Xbox Series S is real. We have a price, we have a release date, we have specs. We're going to talk about it. I'm not going to reveal my thoughts on the console, but I am excited that they are here. And Holden also has thoughts on the console. Who knows whether they're positive or negative?
Whatever Chad's thoughts are, it's very on one side of the spectrum. We'll find out. Who knows?
They are on the spectrum, as they say. Holden,
No, but it's
we're going to talk about that
it's
as
not
our
in the
main
middle
quest.
somewhere. It's very on either
I did
side
not
of the spectrum.
say.
Either very
I did
bad,
not
very
say.
good. You said very and then changed your course of direction of the sentence. So
I said they
I
are
heard
on
what's
the
going on there.
spectrum.
That was
I
after.
just broadened your definition. Here's the thing, Holden. We're going to get into that as our main quest, but we have some stuff to talk about before we get here. I promise, little baby birds, we're going to get there as quickly as possible. But let's start by talking about playtime. Holden, what the fuck did you play this week? I am so curious. I, like Phil Collins, want to know.
I'll keep this really brief because it's really not anything different from last week for the most part. And also, I want to get to that Xbox stuff, so just got to get on with it. I played some more Super Mario Odyssey because I'm just very pumped for Mario All-Stars. I officially have the pre-order. I officially have it downloaded, and I may or may not have looked into online how to open it up early because I'm so excited. But I'm not going to do that because it's not right to do that. But
You are not getting it physical, correct?
Not getting it
Because
physical.
it is selling
Neither
out
are
everywhere
a lot of
online.
people. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
I've just been in a Nintendo mood lately, so I played some Animal Crossing New Horizons, been making some adjustments to my town. I am trying to go for the 5-star island. That's kind of my main goal right now because I'm on 4 stars. But I feel like I'm so close. My island is so dope. I'm almost there. But Isabel is a very tough grader. So got to live up to her standards.
Can I tell you before we move on from Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
My niece recently got Animal Crossing New Horizons for her Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And my nephew, who's a little bit younger than her, has a DS because obviously he's a little less responsible.
3DS or DS?
It's a 2DS.
Oh, 2DS. Okay.
It's a 2DS. He got Animal Crossing New Leaf, but he doesn't quite understand mortgages and loans and repaying Tom Nook. He's like, somebody gave me a house. And then he's like, I finally got a fishing rod, but I haven't figured out how to fish yet. And he thinks that every time you fish and you don't catch it, the fish dies. And so he's like, I've killed like 20 fish. I just keep killing the fish.
Ooh, it's actually the opposite. If you catch the fish, that fish is dead.
Yeah.
If you let it go, then it's totally fine.
Well, he's never caught one yet, so we'll let him figure that out on his own. I'm not going to explain the circle of life to my 5-year-old nephew.
The Lion King will do that for him. Just make
That's
him watch
true.
The Lion King.
Yep. Tell me about the last Campfire.
Yeah, so I played The Last Campfire. Not enough to really talk about it, but just announcing that I started playing it. This is the new game from Hello Games.
Hello.
It's a Who Made No Man's Sky, but this is like just a small $15 experience. I, for some reason, thought it was going to be a full price game, or maybe I already knew it was $15. I don't know. I was on the eShop, I saw it was $15, and I thought, I should get that. And I did. And so far, I'm liking it, but again, I'm not that far into it. I
think maybe I saw an ad for it in the App Store, because it's also on Apple Arcade. And I realized that it was much more puzzle focused than I thought it was going to be. For some reason, obviously the aesthetic and the characters, I thought, oh, Journey. It's going to be a Journey knockoff. With like some adventure stuff.
Yeah, they look very like a cartoony version of Journey. Yeah,
yeah. But then I saw like all of the videos and screenshots from the app on the App Store were just like, this is how you solve this puzzle, and you move this cube, and you got to light this torch, and it's like, whoa, okay, you can keep it. Is it really puzzle focused? Like it looks like Monument Valley style.
Really
almost.
not that far at all. It seems puzzly in the same way that Zelda is puzzly. But again, I'm really not that far in the game. I've kind of done like the introductory level area where they have you do the most basic puzzles ever. But essentially, you're just kind of moving from room to room, and either there's something story related they want to show you there, like there's a character that gives you a satchel and that's story related, or you're solving a little puzzle. But so far, like if you could handle a 2D Zelda game in terms of puzzle mechanics, I think this would be in that realm. But again, it could get super complicated and become The Witness by the end of it, so who knows?
Does it seem to you like there's going to be any kind of like combat or exploration at all?
I haven't gotten that. So far, everything seems incredibly linear. It's gorgeous, each area, but it's definitely go from that door in the room to the other door in the room. And that's kind of what everything has been.
You know how
overall,
I am about puzzles.
I'm liking it. I'll keep playing it. But again, like I have Super Mario Odyssey I want to play now. Mario All-Stars comes out in a little bit. I still have to beat Origami King. Oh my god, there's too much. Too much. Chad, you've been playing a game that's a lot as well. It's a big game.
Yeah, Marvel's Avengers. We talked about last week when Dusty was here. I beat the campaign. I was so excited. I'm ready to jump into the multiplayer stuff. I have since played with the boys. We have our own text thread, and it's nicknamed Avenger Boys. So with an
Which
I.
season of The Boys? Which how many episodes in?
No, it's Boys with an I.
Oh, gotcha.
So
okay.
it's basically a ripoff of The Boys, but we all do each other. That's what it is. No, we've been playing it. Everybody's like switching up characters a little bit.
So there's going to be a porn version of that called The Boys with an I, and it's like gay porn, absolutely, 100%.
No, it's been great. We've been playing around with different characters. Matt has like this super leveled up Hulk, but then he's like, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna play as Kamala Khan tonight. And I was switching around a little bit, trying out Thor a little bit more because you don't get to play a ton of him in the campaign. But so I was like playing a little bit more Thor, leveled up my BBW, Black Widow, big beautiful Black Widow, and it's a ton of fun. We're jumping around, bopping around some drop zones, doing some war zones, bopping enemies on the head like little funny foo-foo, and it's a great time. I'm enjoying the mechanic. I can tell you already, however, that it does not seem like a game we will play in perpetuity like Warzone. It seems more to me
Destiny.
like a game. Well, even Destiny, it seems more to me like a game like Destiny, where we will pop in for a couple of events, play it hardcore for a few weeks, and then we'll just put it on pause while something else comes out and return to it in a month or two when a new character drops or when something else comes up. And I say that because we've played maybe, I don't know, 5-6 hours together in the post-game content, and you can already kind of see how it's randomly generated, but also a little bit like the environments are a little bit samey. The battles could be a little bit samey. But that's like with any big game like Destiny. The whole thing is take an orb and put it into a hole somewhere, or shoot somebody enough times. Anyway, but what I'm saying is that I'm really enjoying it. I think this game will become a staple in our rotation, just like Destiny and Warboner. In fact, it already has a call. I know you're familiar with the Warzone call. Whenever we play Warzone together, when you jump on comms, you have to go. That's our Warzone call. When we play Destiny together, the call is. And now when we play Avengers together, you jump on comms and immediately everyone just goes ass, 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 ass. Because Avengers,
to be clear,
assemble.
I don't do any of this, but you guys
don't. You're a party pooper. You are the definition.
Yeah, I'm a party pooper.
Man who poops at parties.
But I'm happy you guys have fun doing that.
Yeah.
But just to set the record clear, I am a party pooper.
Yes, true story.
I also don't play Avengers. There's also that part of it.
I'm also, this is very important, I am going to the beach. We randomly, my sister decided to get a beach house for the week. So starting tomorrow, Monday, to the following Monday, I will be at the beach. And I made sure, because there were some weird things going on with like my modem back at my old place that I couldn't remote play. I made sure that I was still able to remote play via a hotspot in my sister's car, so obviously it'll work from the beach too, to my PlayStation. So I can still avenge and assemble with the boys, with an I, that all do each other, from the beach on my iPad or my iPhone or my computer or my Vita. I'm bringing all 4 options. That's what I played. Welcome, Porkchop, to the chat. Porkchop is a very high-level Captain America, and he's very good at it. V-good, as the kids say. He likes to hang back and throw his shield a lot, which is pretty dope.
Is that a spoiler? Does Captain America come back? Do you just spoil that?
No. Everyone knows you play as Captain America in A-Day in the beginning on the San Francisco Golden Gate
But
Bridge.
you can't play as him afterwards. I thought, okay, cool.
No, we go back in time, and
that.
we all just play the game from the beginning again. Next up!
You totally spoiled something.
Everyone knows Cap's not dead in that game, Holden. Oh, man. Sultan
I didn't. And you ruined a game I'm never going to play.
That's true. Let's move on to our fetch quests so we can get more to this Xbox stuff quickly. Fetch quests. These are our quests that are like little news stories that are worth mentioning but don't have a ton of meat on them. Starting with Kena Bridge of Spirits slips to 2021 release, says Jeff Cork at Game Informer. Kind of bummed because this is one of the launch titles I was looking forward to. There's still going to be a lot out that I'm excited for, like playing the Medium, etc., etc. But I was pumped for that. But obviously, delay your game if it's going to make it good, bruh.
I'd rather play a good game than a mediocre one.
That's right. Next up, speaking of mediocre next-gen policies, Control's cross-gen controversy reignites after some PS4 owners accidentally upgraded free, says Tom Phillips from Eurogamer. Again, to catch everyone up real quick, you can buy Control on PlayStation 4, and you can buy the DLC separately. However, if you buy the new Control Ultimate Edition, which bundles it all together, you get the PS5 upgrade for free. If you bought it all piecemeal, you do not get the PS5 upgrade for free. And they said, it was impossible. It was technically impossible for us to let everyone get it the way that we wanted to. And then it turns out they accidentally made it possible in the store and immediately reverted. So,
And we also talked about this, and we were like, no, this isn't a technical thing. There's no way this is a technical thing. It doesn't make any sense for it to be technical. And I think this completely outed them as it being a business decision, which is just kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Never fun.
Next up, Watch Dogs Legion. That's Legion for all you lay people. Will launch on Xbox Series X on November 10th. There will be a free next-generation upgrade announced, says Jordan Biazzo at GameRanks. Maybe my favorite journalist's name to say. Biazzo. Light on the piazza. The game is coming to current-gen consoles on October 29th, but if you want the next-gen version, you don't have to wait for it to come out on November 10th. You can buy the 29th version on your current console, and it will automatically upgrade. Similar to what will happen with smart delivery games. What was also confirmed from Ubisoft is that Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be coming to current and next-gen on the same date on November 10th. They actually moved the release date up a few days. It was coming out that Friday. Now it's coming out the same day Xbox Series S and X release on November 10th.
Good
Does this
stuff.
tickle your pickle a little bit? You going to get either of these games?
Not really. I don't know if I'm going to get either game, to be honest. But when I first saw this, I'm like, man, November 10th for both like Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed on next gen consoles. Like that's a lot of Ubisoft at one event or for one launch. I'm like, oh wait, that just means it's a next generation launch because that's what always happens. Ubisoft always has a bunch of games, but it is notable that they have two very big games coming out that close to each other.
In addition to Rainbow Six Siege will be compatible day one. Division 2 will be compatible day one. Like all these next gen upgrades and cross gen multiplayer and all that kind of stuff. So Ubisoft, gotta love how much they support new shit.
Oh yeah, and then also to talk about we'll talk about later on, but their new game that's coming out in December very shortly after launch as well. So
103 Dalmatians.
A lot of Ubisoft. 103 Dalmatians.
Next up, Demon's Souls PS5 remake, which I am screaming for in my bajingo, receives new screenshots and potential box art in retail leaks, says Logan Moore at DualShockers. If you're looking at our shared note right now with Just Holden and I, you can see some of these screens and box art. This is making it more real and more evident that it might be closer than we think, perhaps a launch title rather than a launch window.
Oh my gosh, I would die. So earlier I said, I don't think I'm going to get a PS5 at launch because, like, I don't know, I just don't care about Spider-Man. I can play a lot of the games on PS4, and I'm like, if this game ends up coming for launch, I am going to be so bad. So, yeah, I'm going to get one.
Did we fucking get you, Holden?
You got me. You got me.
Oh, fucking got you, loser.
Also, just these screenshots look incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this one of, I believe this is the first boss you face in the tutorial area.
No.
It's not. It looks like the boss.
It may be from the
Dark Souls.
tutorial. I don't remember the tutorial, but I know that the first boss is not that.
And one it is in Dark Souls, the first boss looks extremely similar to that in the tutorial area. That's what I'm thinking of. Either way, it doesn't matter where this boss comes up in the game. Either way, it just looks badass as fuck. Like, holy shit. Holy shit. Also, the lighting
I forgot, you've never played
crisp.
any of this game, right? Not even like
I've never played any of Demon's Souls. So as far as I'm concerned, this is a brand new From Software game that's coming out. Well, Blue Point, but you know what I mean.
For most people, I think. I don't know how many people actually played Demon's Souls.
No, Dark Souls is really what popularized the franchise.
Before it was popular to beat Dark Souls games.
You have a platinum too, don't you?
In Demon's Souls? I don't think I have the platinum. I had the platinum in Bloodborne. I don't think I have it in Demon's Souls. I think I just beat it.
Well, you're going to get it now.
I don't know, man. Platinuming Demon's Souls games is tough. I mean, Dark Souls games in general. Although Bloodborne wasn't that bad. I don't know. I'm excited for it, though.
Sekiro wasn't that bad.
Sekiro.
Just one trophy was a pain in the ass to get. So, yeah,
Oh my god,
I can't wait for
this game before,
out.
I think, will help. I know all the tricks and all the... Woo! I almost mixed up the word tricks and crannies. Like nooks and crannies. I know all, so that might help and it might make it go a little bit quicker for me. Also, for any of you who are looking to play Demon's Souls, if they've kept like the guts of the game the same, Holy Magic is super OP. It might be tough to like be that kind of like using intelligence and Holy Magic in the beginning of the game, but by the end of it,
I think Sony needs this game at launch as well. I mean, I know Spider-Man is obviously going to be a very big title, clearly. From what we've seen of Spider-Man, it doesn't seem like it's going to be like the big next-gen, like, killer, look at this game, you can't do this on last-gen hardware. But this is. And I think having Spider-Man and this and Ratchet and Clank, because Ratchet and Clank is also rumored to be coming out in kind of that release window time frame.
Right.
That's a great trifecta. You have kind of the Marvel-y, kind of comic book fun action game. You have the super accessible to everybody Ratchet and Clank, and then you have something that's for more hardcore players like Demon's Souls. That's a really good balance of launch titles because they don't overlap each other. No one's going to be like, oh no, should I get Ratchet and Clank or Demon's Souls? Anyone who says that is probably going to be getting it anyway because they're so different from each other. I don't think there's a lot of overlap in terms of the average consumer getting those games. So it makes sense.
Insomniac did also mention, by the way, that Ratchet and Clank is a launch window title.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
they did not define what that meant, but it is launch window.
Mm-hmm. We will find out soon enough.
Let's talk next.
We'll talk about it later on.
About Among Us. Hits 1.5 million concurrent users, says Alex Calvin at PC Games Insider. Among Us is apparently a several-year-old game that is just now making waves We played it on game night last week. We also played it this week with our pals at Pixel Street Podcast. And we got up to 9 players, and this game was fun as shit with that many people. So fun. If you want to go watch that gameplay, you can go to Pixel Street Podcast's YouTube, and they have the Let's Play of it. It was a good time, guys. Good time. They hit 1.5 million concurrent players. Good for them. And their servers showed it. Because the
second time around with Pixel Street, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, we still had issues. Like, just hit the button a few more times. But you only had to hit it like 6 times rather than 35 times.
There's sometimes, actually, there's only one time I didn't get in on the first try. And then on the third or fourth try I did, which is much better than the first time, where every time it failed.
True beans.
True beans.
We also have Super Mario 3D All-Stars is already Amazon's second biggest game of 2020, says Matthew Handrahan at gamesindustry.biz. It's the second biggest game on Amazon, but don't worry, the first biggest is still a Nintendo game. It is Animal Crossing New Horizons. The third biggest game is still a Nintendo game. It is Mario Kart 8. They are loving their Amazon partnership right now. That being said, it is also 3D All-Stars is selling out at a lot of online retailers. And remember, this game is only available through March 31st. So if you want to buy some for your little kitties and your kitty cats and all you cats and kittens, I'm Carol fucking Baskins. Make sure that you get it as soon as it's available.
I'll say the game is only 5 gigs on the eShop. It is so worth just downloading. Just get it digitally. Don't deal with the physical hassle.
Here's the other thing. You buy the physical version. Your kid eats it. They hate the taste of it. They throw it up. Stomach acid all over the game cart. Boom. Game is lost forever. You can never play it. You can't buy it again because it's no longer in print. The digital version, however, download it to your Switch. You lose your Switch. You feed it to your kid. They throw it up. It's digital. Nintendo finds some way to fuck that up. You don't ever have it again, and it doesn't matter. Just kidding. No, digital is the way to go, everybody. But I can understand, like, my brother's family. My brother has a Switch. His daughter has a Switch. And then whenever the Switch Pro comes out, he's going to pass down his Switch to his son. And then they're going to have 3 Switches. And it's just going to be easier to have one card that you pass between the Switches rather than 3 digitally. Anyway. Hold on, we got some Breath of the Wild 2 news. And by that, I mean, we're not getting Breath of the Wild 2 news. Breath of the Wild 2 news won't be coming for, quote, a bit longer, the producer says. This comes from Matthew Olson at US Gamer. I'm going to let you cry through this quote real quick. So
I'll read it for you?
For
Absolutely.
us. Yeah.
We mentioned in June 2019 Nintendo Direct presentation that we had started development on the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Many people around the world are still playing Breath of the Wild. So I'd like to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Everyone, thank you so much. He says, let me thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now I'm going to say that. Everyone, thank you so much. Regarding the sequel, in order to make the vast world you've enjoyed exploring in the original game even more impressive, the team is working hard on its development. So you'll have to wait a bit longer before we can provide more updates. Here's my thinking here, okay?
Go on.
Is this them responding to the fact that they've had a few directs and we haven't heard anything? Because they've had a few directs recently and we haven't heard anything. Well, the partner directs being included in that. And they had the Mario one, obviously. And they're just saying, hey, I know you haven't seen the last few directs, but, like, you know, we need some more time. We'll show it off. Here's where my head's at. If we don't see more of this game at the Game Awards, I'm going to be so upset. I want to see this game soon. I'm getting very impatient.
Here's what's going to happen. We're not going to see it at Game Awards. We're not going to see it in the first quarter of next year. We're going to see it when they announce the Switch Pro, and we're going to see... You thought Breath of the Wild was great in 1080p. Wait till you see it in 4K. This is what Hyrule looks like now in stunning 4K with HDR on a 1080p screen on your Switch. But no, I honestly think that they are saving the reveal for this, like what the world looks like and the mechanics, for showing you what it will look like on the Switch Pro as like a showcase for that system, in addition to whatever Metroid is going to be, etc.
But Chad, I don't like that. I want it now. They can show it at the Game Awards and still show it later on in 4K on the Switch Pro. They can still do that. Chad, don't ruin my life. Don't ruin my life with those comments. Don't do that to me.
Can't tell me what to do. But they did announce something for you, Holden. They announced Hyrule Warriors Dynasty Warriors 2, Electric Boogaloo. I don't remember what the actual name of it is, but it's a sequel to Hyrule Warriors, which is a prequel to Breath of the Wild, canonically. And if you liked Hyrule Warriors or Dynasty Warriors, this is for you. Holden, for all of you audio listeners, is giving half of the sign language for, I think it's poop or asshole or whatever this is.
I'm giving a thumbs down because I just don't care about this. I have Hyrule Warriors. I deleted it off my Switch because I thought it was so boring. I don't care if there's more story details for Age of Calamity or the war that happened against Calamity Ganon 100 years before Breath of the Wild. I don't care. I don't want to play that game. It doesn't interest me. I just don't care.
Are you going to get the amiibos that they re-released for the champions?
No, don't care. I just want to play Breath of the Wild 2. That's all I care about.
Fake fan. Fake fan.
If it comes out and it gets like glorious reviews and it's way better than specifically than Hyrule Warriors, the definitive edition, maybe I'll check it out. But I'm not feeling I'm sure it's going to be fine for people who like the Dynasty Warriors style game. I don't like that kind of game, and the story details I'll find out about from some Zelda YouTuber who redoes the whole timeline, including the Age of Calamity. I'll find out about the story details then. Until then, don't need to know. I'm good.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about some meaty stuff. Let's transition out of our fetch quest and talk about the Microsoft quest log. Now, hold on, everyone. We're still not going to get to the Series X stuff yet. We're going to hold that for our main quest, but we do have a couple more things to talk about that came actually from what was intended to be the same event. So there's a press event that was supposed to happen this week. It's about 30 minutes long. It has now since leaked on Twitter. You can find it a couple places on Twitter where they announce the Series S and they announce these next two things at the same time. Obviously, they have a discussion around it. It's like a whole 30-minute presentation that no longer needs to exist because it was all press releases and leaked early. The first one being that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, the $15 a month subscription that includes Live Gold and Game Pass, also now includes EA Play starting this holiday, says Joe Screbbles at IGN. At no extra cost, you now get EA Play bundled in with your Game Pass Ultimate. Why do you're like, what does that mean? That means I get the E3 presentation every single year for free with my Game Pass? No, you silly Billy Gumdrop. EA Play is the same name as that, but it is the new name for the now bundled services that used to be EA Origin Access and EA Access and then EA Origin, which was the PC streaming thing and the console early access. These are some of the things that are now part of that. You get to access 60 games from EA Play that are all from EA, that are available from franchises like Battlefield, Mass Effect, FIFA, Skate, The Sims, and more, things from their backlog. You get discounts on EA games and titles as well. And then you also get trials lasting up to 10 hours on new EA games. You get sometimes early access to select EA games as well before they launch. So that's all bundled in now with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for the same low monthly price of $14.99 US. In that same announcement, Xbox Game Pass for PC, which launched in beta last year, leaves beta soon, and the subscription fee doubles, says Merdad Kayat. I'm gonna take that again. And the subscription fee doubles, says Merdad Kayat from DualShockers. Xbox Game Pass for PC launched last year. It was in beta. It was $5 for that subscription, or included in Game Pass Ultimate. It is now being upped to $9.99. It is no longer in beta, but still is included for the same price in Game Pass Ultimate. Holden, it's a lot of goodwill for our gamers. How does that strike you?
I think this is a really smart move on EA's part. Because Game Pass, as Phil Spencer's talked about recently, Game Pass subscribers spend more money on games overall. So EA is essentially positioning themselves to be kind of comfy with the best, most valuable consumers, if you will. So if you're browsing the store, you're going to have a better experience with EA games browsing the store than any other company. Oh, I want to play this game versus another game. Well, one's made by EA, and I can sample that for 10 hours before I play it. I get a discount on it when I buy it. I get early access to it. It's like, I'm sure that there's some sort of like eating the cost of something and doing this for EA, but they're going to make it up by having a more enticing deal to the most valuable consumers. I think it's really smart for them.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is also hopefully. I think EA is really concentrating on making their subscription service a thing, just like Ubisoft is launching their own and everything like that. But I hope this is like one tiny step in the direction of these streaming services all coming together and being like one thing. You know how like everyone wants like CBS All Access, stop trying to be a thing and just let Netflix buy you or let Hulu buy you. I don't want to pay for another $5 service. This is kind of everyone having their own streaming service. I love that this is available as one thing for no extra cost. This is going to be great for consumers. It's going to be a great way to say, hey, you already have Game Pass Ultimate. You might have an Xbox and a PlayStation, but if you buy the game on Xbox, you get to play it early. Or maybe you don't even have to buy the game on Xbox. Or if you choose to use your Game Pass Ultimate, you can stream this game through xCloud rather than if you buy it on PlayStation, you got to just pay full price and only play it on your TV. It will get a little hairy. I know that sometimes there's a little bit of confusion, especially as I boot up my Xbox. I'm like, what do I own and what do I only have downloaded via Game Pass? And now there's going to be what do I own, what's on Game Pass, and what's EA Play. Especially as you start to think about what is streamable with xCloud. Like almost everything in Game Pass, I think, or maybe the entire catalog of Game Pass is going to be streamable. And some EA Play titles are streamable. So I don't know if there's going to be a clear delineation on the icons or in the store or on the user interface of like what's EA Access and what's EA Play and what's Game Pass.
I also think you'll have to go to the EA Play app specifically. It's not integrated into the Game Pass section. I think there's still two separate services. In terms of like an app on your Xbox, it's still technically two different services. Unless I'm misreading this, but that's kind of the gist that I got.
Game Pass is its own app that you go to as part of the store. But when you download the game, it's still its own icon on your dashboard.
Yeah, I'm talking about browsing the apps, though, and all that stuff, yeah. I mean, regardless, this is a big deal. Also, I think it kind of changes how I look at EA's approach to cross-gen titles, where they had this, I think it was EA at least, where they had the weird, you have to buy the game before the end of the year and then upgrade to an Xbox.
Yeah.
This would kind of undo that because I'm assuming they're going to have the Series X versions of the games on EA Play as the default. I would assume at least. But again, this is EA.
General,
maybe they'll say you have to pay separate for that one. Who knows? Maybe. But
I don't know if this has changed since EA Play has been around. But when they announced EA Access, they generally did not have new games on the service. It was like you could play a bunch of games from their backlog, and if you bought the new game, you get to play it early. But it wasn't necessarily like a Game Pass where day and date it drops on both services. I don't know if that's been updated since it came out a couple of years ago.
I'm really curious. Actually, I want to look that up now because that does kind of change how I view the service.
Yeah.
I was under the assumption that they had all sorts of fun new games available. Going to EA's website right now.
Webby sidey. Which is why it was such a big deal whenever Game Pass said all of Microsoft's titles will drop day and date on this. Otherwise, I think EA Access was like $5 a month. And if you could play all of their brand new things for $5, that's a steal.
You know, it looks like there's EA Play and EA Play Pro. Only get EA Play. You don't get EA Play Pro. Don't be greedy now.
EA Play Pro, I think, is a PC only thing.
Yeah, I have no idea what any of this stuff is. I don't pay attention to EA specifically. It looks like they have Madden 20, but they don't have Madden 21. And I think that's
just
already
came out last month.
Yeah. So yeah,
and
you'd be right.
Very poorly.
Well, technically, Madden 20 is Madden 21 in a lot of ways.
You're right. Yeah, I think it's another excellent step in the direction for consumers, even if it's not quite what you thought it was. I think it's a good move, and it's that's a huge partnership for Xbox and EA to have that. I wonder how much that's going to influence people like Ubisoft Plus or Uplay Plus.
They'll go to PlayStation and do that with PlayStation. Who knows?
Well, I don't know because PlayStation didn't even allow EA access until last year because they were like, "Oh no, we don't do that kind of stuff on our platform."
This could become a point of competition, though. Like, oh, you have EA Play, we're going to get Activision's new version or whatever. Does Activision even have one? Well, whenever they do,
I don't think so.
Like, that could be something that Sony wants to get to entice a different set of consumers over to them. So this could be an area of competition.
Thanks for bringing up Sony, Holden. We've got some Sony Questlog things to talk about. First and foremost being PS5 price and pre-order availability, rumored to be announced tomorrow, September 9th, if you're going by the date of this article. It says Logan Moore from DualShockers on September 8th. Obviously, that didn't happen because it's past September 9th right now. This came from Game, which is a UK retailer, and they eventually deleted their tweet saying that the announcement would come on September 9th. But guess what did get revealed? Sony is holding a PlayStation 5 showcase on September 16th, says Michael McWhorter at Polygon. Yes, that's right. If you are listening to this on day one when it drops on Tuesday the 15th, this is tomorrow. Mark your calendars, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Wait, maybe that's wrong. It's 1 p.m. sometime in the world. Anyway, look it up. Just fucking go Google it. It's 4 p.m. Eastern time. All we know that they've announced is that they will show games coming to the PS5 at launch and beyond. But now that Xbox has showed their cards, it is about time that we know the PS5 price and launch date and pre-order date. So that's what I'm speculating is coming. That is not what Sony is saying is coming, but it's going to be about a 40-minute presentation, and it's coming.
Chad.
Yeah.
Chad. I think it's time we jump into our Summer Games Bet Fest.
Oh, that's right. It's Summer Games Bet Fest. Bet. That's right. Summer Games Bet Fest, where we take bets on last game. Where we take bets on summer's best game fest. Summer Game Fest. Summer of gaming. The rest are best for bets. Bet.
I missed the first one. I apologize.
Okay. I love you.
So this is basically just going to be, because I agree. I think they're going to announce the launch date. I think it'd be such a terrible move to hold this event and not announce price and release date. I think it'd be a terrible move. Such a bad move, they have to announce it. So we're going to assume they're going to, and we're going to figure out right now. We're going to put our bet down on which day the PS5 is going to be coming out.
Which day PS5 is coming out?
Day?
I can tell you right now. It is coming out November 13th. Friday, November 13th.
You think 13th?
Yep. I think it's the 13th.
All right.
That is the release date. That is the release date of Call of Duty COD Blops Cow. We know that Sony has a partnership with Activision for Call of Duty, as well as Destiny and many other things Activision. And I think it's going to be a day-and-date release with it. They're going to have some kind of promotion where they're like, play Call of Duty on the world's best console, PlayStation 5, on launch day.
This is going to be a really interesting discussion and debate we're going to have here, because I agree. November 13th is the exact date that I had written down as well. So I'm writing both of ours down. We're going to be putting a poll up. I'm basically just going to put a poll up for every Friday in the month of November, because I feel like Friday's probably...
I don't know, because
and then like if it's
on a
that
Tuesday.
week, then you get it. It could, but if that happens, then just the community will be right as long as it's the same week in terms of the poll.
All right.
But we are being held to a higher standard.
Week of blank. Week of blank.
Okay. So we'll just say
all the way
week
up
of
through Black Friday, because we know they have to do it before Black Friday.
Perfect.
Can we talk about last week's BetFest?
Yes. So actually,
and how within 24 hours.
So what we're actually going to do here is, oh shit, I actually didn't write that one down. What was that one again? Then run us by
last
through
week's
that one.
BetFest was: do you think in September we'll find out about launch price or release date for any of these consoles? And then the next day it leaked.
And I said no.
And you and Dusty said no, and I said we have to, right? Yes.
So you got a point for that. I have to.
I fucking nailed that one.
5 points. So I actually have everything compiled now for everything BetFest related, and we're gonna go through each bet we've made so far, because you have 2 weeks left of this, 3 weeks left of this now, and we're gonna kind of lay out what it looks like for the home run stretch. So there have been 14 possible points that we've given out for each for the total of all the weeks. The first week we did was the PS5 event predictions. All the way back when PlayStation 5 first had their showcase. The first thing we put a bet on was if there's going to be a V-shape for the console.
I'm so glad that didn't exist.
So you said no V-shape. You did say in the, this is totally good on you. In the recording, you said that it will keep the cooling part of the internal structure, however, and that seems to have been the case. So you totally got that. That was 1 point awarded to you. I said it was going to have the V shape, so I had no points awarded to me.
And you can suck it.
The community also said no V shape, so the community got 1 point as well.
Community can suck it.
For games, we made a prediction of 2 games that would be announced at that event. Chad, your predictions were Gran Turismo 7 and Horizon 2, so you get 2 points.
Hell yeah.
I said Ratchet and Clank and God of War 2, so I got 1 point.
Uno Domingo.
The community said Horizon 2 and Ratchet and Clank 2, so they got 2 points. The next week, we did the Lockhart announcement and whether or not Lockhart would be announced this year. So, Chad, you
whether
said
it be this
it was
year. Gotcha. Okay.
So this was going to be at a 2 points because there's announced and then releasing is each a point.
Okay.
So you said it's going to be announcing this year, but coming out next year. So you got 1 point for that.
Okay.
And then me and the community both said it was not going to be announced this year at all. So we got no points.
You guys can suck it.
We had the new Pokemon Let's Go game, which turned out not to be a Pokemon Let's Go game at all. So just no points were awarded in that bet.
We all can suck it.
This next one we don't have yet. So it's the Avengers Metacritic score as of September 30th.
Yeah,
It's
even
not September
like
30th
this
yet?
week, people are just starting to post full reviews of it. So
Yeah.
we'll wait a little bit.
Wait a little bit. Chad, you predicted between 70 and 80 for the Metacritic score. I predicted between 60 and 70, and the community also predicted between 70 and 80.
Okay.
So we'll find out that one pretty soon. I think right now,
Who knows
going
who
off the
sucks
PlayStation
it?
4, it's at 67 right now. So we'll see how that kind of changes as more reviews come in. But the next one is out of 2 points as well, and we have half of it for this one. And that is the next-gen console price, Series X and PS5. Kind of relevant to this week. We'll talk about this later on, but we'll spoil a little bit of it right now. So the Xbox, Chad, you predicted it was going to be $400. I predicted it was going to be $400. And the community just outshined the both of us, and they said 500 buckaroos. And the problem is that was $500, not 500 buckaroos. So no points awarded to the community.
How
Just
many
kidding, you guys got
Dunkaroos
your
does that
points.
convert to, though?
15.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, 15. PlayStation for PlayStation 5, you're saying 400.
Wait, none of you and I don't get points for that, right? Because
We don't get points for that, no.
we landed right in the
'Cause it
middle
was-
of the two prices.
Yeah, well, this is also for Series X specifically and PS5. Since we didn't
gotcha.
know if Lockhart was a thing or not, we decided just to leave it out and just stick with the PS5 and Series X. We also were basing it off of the introductory model. So, like for PS5, for example, if digital is 400 and the disc-based version is 500, we would go off of the digital version being 400. Chad, you predicted 400. I predicted 500, and the community predicted 500 for PS5. We'll find out about that one pretty soon, probably.
Talk.
The Xbox Game Showcase. We bet on Jeff Keighley's poll and how people were going to respond.
Oh, that's
and
right.
the poll was A, B, C, D. Chad, you predicted a D. I predicted a B, and the community predicted an A, and it turned out to be a B.
I can suck it.
Just a few more here. Grounded Metacritic. There is no Metacritic score because it just didn't get
that's
any
right.
reviews really, so no points awarded at all for that. This next one we don't know about yet, but I think we can make a definitive. I think we can make a definitive statement on this one now. Actually, I take that back. Microsoft discontinues Xbox Live Gold, and they've kind of come out and said they have not done that, and they've kind of said there's no changes coming to Xbox Live Gold.
Yeah.
But they haven't definitively said anything about that yet. So I'm going to say that it's no on that.
We can
because they've kinda
reevaluate
come
at the end
out-
of the month if something changes.
Yeah. I'm leaving it blank for right now. But on that one, you said no. I said yes, and the community said yes. So it's looking like it's going to go to you right now. But at September 30th, we'll just judge it from there. And then this week's PS5 release date, November 13th, for you and me. Go from there. So, how does this all shake up the points? Well, out of 14 possible points so far, Chad, you have 5 points.
Ooh.
I have 2 points, and the community has 4 points,
Oh!
and there's 4 points that are still to be determined.
It's anyone's game.
It's anyone's game, so it's possible. I'm feeling like you're probably still going to win this because you've been doing very well so far.
It's because I'm from the future.
You've seen everything. You know what's going to happen. You're actually the inverted version of Chad going back in time right now.
Oh my God. Yes, please. We should get a tattoo together. Sorry, I just saw your tattoo, and then I realized I also have a tattoo. We should get a tattoo. That's it for Games on Game Show. I mean, Summer Games Bet Fest. A little recap there. Before we move on to our third-party quest log, there's one more Sony-related thing, and it is a rumor. Rumor has it. Final Fantasy 16 will be unveiled soon as timed PS5 exclusive, says Zermina Khan at PlayStation Lifestyle. This is something that's actually been rumored a little bit. Imran Khan from Kind of Funny Games and also formerly of Game Informer says Wednesday would be a good time to show this off. Who knows if he knows insider information or is just making a prediction. But I feel like it is about time we heard about Final Fantasy 16, especially with their release cycle. Like they should have announced it 3 years ago for release in 2030. But yeah, it's time, and PlayStation playing with all those exclusives, like it is. That's very likely. I think that it's going to come to PS5 first.
Yeah, so I was did some looking at the release cadences, and Final Fantasy 13 Part 3 came out November 2013 in Japan and February 2014 in North America, and then only 2 years later, Final Fantasy 15 came out. So in November 2016. And the last DLC for that came out in 2019. They were going to make more DLC, and they canceled it, presumably to work on something else, which if we're assuming this is a correct rumor, is probably Final Fantasy 16. And I think it's time as well, at least to get an announcement for it. Yeah. Final Fantasy 7 Part 2 is probably a ways off.
Yeah, 100%.
And to kind of release between Final Fantasy Part 1 and 2, I think would make sense to kind of hold us over. So I think it's time. And I think a timed exclusive as well would make sense because that's what Final Fantasy 7 is getting. So why not Final Fantasy 16 as well? I believe it. I believe it.
I forgot that I brought this in here to show off. Before we leave our PlayStation quest log, my mommy was cleaning out some stuff from my closet. And look what she found, everyone. It's my old PS1. It's the smaller redesign with the officially licensed PlayStation PS1 LCD screen. Oh,
is it a Retina display?
It
4K?
Is a display that will make your retinas bleed if you try to look at it for too long. I did not end up as a kid getting the battery pack, so I do still have to have it plugged into power. But I have all of my PS1 games on disc still in a filing cabinet. She also found my original Xbox with the Xbox third-party screen that you can put on top and flip up. All of my old Xbox games that I'm going to now, on a Series X, we'll talk about later, that I'm going to play backwards compat. Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to show that off. There's also a Game Boy somewhere in the house. She told me she put it somewhere. I can't find it, but I'm going to find that Game Boy. I'm going to probably look at it and then not play it. Y'all, let's talk about our third-party quest log because we got to get to this Microsoft stuff. Third-party. Apple allows streaming games on iOS, but there's a catch, says Kyle Orland at Ars Technica. As we've talked about before, Stadia and xCloud and other game streaming services like them are currently not allowed on iOS. However, Apple updated their App Store guidelines last week to include ability for streaming game platforms. But the catch is that, well, the apps can be a catalog for these, but the games on them still have to be submitted individually to the App Store and downloaded as a separate download and install. And any in-app purchases still have to go through the App Store as well, which is obviously still nowhere near where we need to be for these game streaming services to survive. So keep being vocal, keep telling Apple, get off your old dinosaur, strike it with a meteor, and catch up to a 65 million years later in the future, and allow these things on iOS.
This is some old bullshit.
Yeah, some bullshit.
It's good.
I am giving them credit for saying we're open to amending our rules, and now it's time to say that's not good enough.
Yeah, it feels like a ploy to get a bunch of money from in-app purchases.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. And I think that's kind of shitty. Like, the part that I think was the strangest is that they have to offer the in-app subscription options in-app. So like Stadia Pro or a Game Pass, the subscription would have to be offered in the app. Netflix doesn't have to do that. YouTube doesn't have to do that. Hulu doesn't have to do that.
Amazon Prime doesn't have to do that.
But for some reason, these apps have to. Why? I don't know. And I understand, like, I'm on Apple's side when it comes to privacy stuff, where they got to maintain their platform, they got to make sure it's nice and safe, because it's one of the primary selling features of iPhones nowadays is how secure it is, and it lives up to that. Like, it's a very safe device to be on. But the review process doesn't apply in that same way to streaming games, because at no point does a streaming game have contact with your phone. So like, they can approve the Xbox Game Pass app, I'm fine with that. But like, if you really think about it, you're streaming Halo, right? You playing Halo, all the game controls go through the Game Pass app, which means it goes through Microsoft. It doesn't go through 343 to, like, there's nothing 343 has connection to, or any of the EA Play games would have connection to. Like, none of that contacts your phone directly. Only the Game Pass app does, because that's where all the controls happen for the game. So this is so inconsistent with their rules, and it financially benefits Apple so much unnecessarily. I'm totally not cool with this.
Yep.
It's dumb.
Keep pressure on them, everyone. Don't let up.
It worked so far. Hopefully it continues to in the future.
Hopefully. Speaking of the future, Ubisoft is looking forward with their Ubisoft Forward September 2020 event. Everything announced, says Matt Kim at IGN. We're going to run through these. I'm going to let you know ahead of time. Spoiler alert, it was boring as hell. Secondly,
I didn't even include all of them
in
here. I disregarded so many of the really boring ones.
Great. Wonderful. There was more Trackmania.
Woo!
Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake is coming on January 21st, 2021 to a bunch of platforms. This one actually leaked, I think, a day ahead of time. This is the remake, which they are throwing around that term very loosely, of the original title, the original of that Sands of Time trilogy way back from 2008, I think it was. Maybe 2003, because 2008 was the Nolan North Prince of Persia. Anyway, the old-ass games that everyone loves, introduce quick-time events and that kind of stuff as really mainstream game design. But it is not a remake, it is an HD remaster. Those character models look old as hell. Resident Evil was a remake. Resident Evil 2 was a remake. That's a remaster, sir. Also, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the complete edition, arrives this holiday on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and Stadia. Why is this significant? Because the original game that launched with the movie, which a lot of people loved, that beat-em-up brawler style, was no longer, they got pulled from the store, was no longer available to download or play anywhere in the world, was never released physically, so you could never play it. And now it's coming back. Still not physically, so they can still pull it at any time. But lots of people are going crazy over it. I bought it and played it when it came out, and I'm not good at brawlers, like side-scrolling brawlers, beat-em-ups. So I did not get past the first boss.
I also find them really boring.
Yeah.
You just walk in one direction and mash a button.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Next up on the list, the game that was previously called Prince, Gods and Monsters, was rebranded as Immortals Phoenix Rising, and it arrives December 3rd. And they showed a lot of this game. And in fact, they had a big gameplay segment afterwards as well that they streamed. It looks pretty cool. Nothing I'm probably going to play unless it's included free on Game Pass, and I have literally nothing else to do. But it looks pretty cool. Then there's Riders Republic was announced. Looks pretty dope. Again, if it's on Game Pass, I'll play it. If it's not, it looks cool. Far Cry VR. Interesting announcement for our current time. Coming in 2021 to physical VR locations where you all have to gather in a small room wearing VR headsets that you swap out with strangers.
I didn't even look at it that way. That's hilarious.
Seems a little tone deaf. Not coming to PC.
Well, that's kind of the
VR.
gist of Ubisoft right now in a lot of ways, is tone deaf.
Yeah. The game itself, I mean, it looks really good if you're able to get it and you're not going to die from it, but that's coming. And then Agos, a game of space, AGOS, is a VR space exploration game that is coming out. Looks fine. And then I think this is in reference to You wrote Too Crew, Too Furious, The Chase Season 1.
Yes.
What was this actually?
The Crew 2.
Gotcha. I think did they announce something 3, like a number 3 racing? I don't know.
I don't know. I have
More
no
Crew
idea.
2 shit.
I just had to write in Crew 2, Too Furious. I had to write that in there. I had to.
Yeah. Crew Harder.
Crew Harder.
So that was announced. Again, Ubisoft Forward. It was 2 hours, Holden. They should have learned from the last one that like they don't have 2 hours of shit to talk about. Speaking of shit that they don't have to talk about,
I didn't even watch it because I just wasn't interested.
I had it on the background while I was doing work stuff. But things they did not announce in that 2 hours: Beyond Good and Evil 2 and Skull and Bones are apparently quadruple A games, says Zarmena Khan at PlayStation Lifestyle. Careful about overhyping your games and setting them up for failure. Skull and Bones was announced is back now. It had gone on hiatus for a little bit. Back again, you're right. They had ceased work on it and tried to figure out a new direction to go in. They delayed it. It is now back. It's going to be kind of different. They don't have anything to show off yet until next year, but it's coming back apparently as a quadruple A game. And then also the Ars Technica director Cyril Mosquilier claims on his profile that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is an open universe quadruple A game, and apparently there's also another unannounced quadruple A game, according to Yanni Doyen at Ubisoft Berlin. So Ubisoft is just out there saying, y'all, we're better than every other game studio out there because we're making quadruple A games. And by game studio, I mean Ubisoft's a publisher.
I wonder if
setting
this is a
themselves up for
change.
failure.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens when the games come out. I wonder if it's a change in business model for Ubisoft, because they release a lot of games, but maybe they're trying to release fewer games but have them be these big tentpole games, such as a Red Dead Redemption 2, where they don't release them that often. It's usually, many, many, many years between them, but it's a gigantic release when it comes out. It makes much more money as a result of being a bigger kind of landmark release, and maybe they're going for that. Beyond Good and Evil 2, I can see them pulling that off because it's kind of already been pitched as from the very beginning as this giant, the open universe concept, something they've already talked about. That's not really even new information. Just the quadruple A part is what's new. So I can see them pulling it off with Beyond Good and Evil too. I can see that. But they've shown off as already very, very ambitious. Skull and Bones started off being as like, remember that one part of this AAA game, Black Flag, that you liked, where you could sail around in ships and fire cannons and whatnot? Yeah, we're going to turn this into its own game. I fail to see how they can take a portion of a AAA game and make that its own quadruple A experience. Like, that just breaks logic in my brain. It's like saying, it's like a logical gap of like the population of Los Angeles is greater than the population of California. Like, no, it's not. That because one is within the other. Like, it's not possible. It kind of reminds me of that. How can you take a portion of a game and make it bigger, like way bigger than the game it even came from? This just seems strange to me.
I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see.
Mostly because the community didn't let us play Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, so I can't speak to any of the ship combat.
We'll never know.
Holden, it is about time to talk about the Xbox launch info. But just before we do, let me tell you about Affable Idiots. Affable Idiots is the brand under which we fall, along with our sister podcast, AAWI, and also with you, and a bunch of other fun things that we want to do, including things that we just shipped, like The Grind. But all of these kind of video versions of these podcasts are just the beginning. We want to do a lot more. In return, we need your support. Support doesn't have to mean money, but it does have to mean like telling us you like our shit and supporting us with hearts and emojis, and just by subscribing. How can you do that for free? Well, you can go to YouTube, you silly gitch. Gitch is a goaty bitch, apparently. You can go to YouTube, subscribe on all our channels. As soon as we get to 100, we can get a vanity name, youtube.com/respawningfire, or if we want, we can say youtube.com/Paris Hilton's Insides. Whatever we wanted to say, we can
Probably
say
not
it.
that.
Who knows? If you get us to 100 subscribers and you donate on a tier on our Patreon, maybe we'll make that. How else can you do this? Free of money obligations. You can go to your favorite podcast service. You can rate us 5 stars. You can give us a carrot to a horse. If we are a horse, that carrot will be 5 stars. Leave us a little message too. It's our love language. And then finally, as I just mentioned, we have a Patreon for Respawn Aim Fire over at patreon.com/Respawn Aim Fire. Surprise, you don't have to have 100 patrons to get a fucking URL there. So if you want to support us there, $1 gets you everything, which is Game Night with Us, which again was Among Us last week. Warzone last week, Among Us the week before. And it also gets you super cool wallpapers, like the dope Avengers wallpaper we just put out this month. Yeah! And then it also lets you influence what we play. You have chosen for our influenced game, a.k.a. BARF, Backlog Accomplishment with Respawn and Friends, for this month and next, Horizon Zero Dawn. Does this include the DLC, The Frozen Wilds? I'm going to say no, but Holden, it's your month, so it's really up to you.
Well, you've played the game before. Is it necessary? Do you think that to understand the story of Horizon, it's necessary to play for Frozen Wilds?
The game is 100% one of the best games, especially from a story perspective and lore perspective, without the Frozen Wilds. It is not necessary for you to play that to get the full enjoyment of the game. It's fun if you enjoy Horizon and you want to go play that on your own, but I'm saying it's not it's not required for our BARF game.
Okay.
You have until October Halloween 31st, or whenever we record that episode, to play it. After which, Nintendo will discontinue Horizon Zero Dawn on your system. And then finally, Holden, we have an episode of The Grind out right now. It is our most viewed video on YouTube, and you have an update for us on future episodes. Please go.
Yeah, so the original plan was to release 1 episode per week. And then I posted this episode of The Grind on a lot of places on Reddit, just to let people know about it, but also to get feedback. And I figured I would get good counter arguments from the Stadia community. So I posted to the Stadia community on Reddit, and boy, did they hate it and review bomb. I guess they review bombed or dislike bombed the video. So
for people who are not aware of what The Grind is, will you kind of give them a brief rundown of it?
Yeah, The Grind is basically every season of The Grind is a multi-part breakdown of some large topic. In this case, I'm breaking down Stadia, kind of why its launch was lackluster, and then that's the episode that just launched. And the other 2 episodes that are going to be coming out are about how their launch compares to the introduction of Microsoft as a video game brand, PlayStation, and Nintendo as well. And then the final part is just the viability of Stadia in the future. Will it be a major player? So I took a lot of the feedback that I got from the Stadia community. I'm not going to go through all of it, but most of the feedback was not great. They didn't like it at all. But there was some surprise.
You pitched this anti-Stadia thing to a bunch of Stadia fanboys.
Yeah, but it wasn't like designed to be anti-Stadia, although someone said I was trying to push Nintendo, which is really funny. But anyway, so I wanted to take their feedback and respond to it. And I'm kind of thinking about like the best ways to do that, because there's some valid feedback that is worth mentioning in terms of like valid counter arguments to what I proposed in the video. Doesn't change my opinion a lot, but I do think that they're valid points that are still worth discussing and kind of where I fall on them. So I'm going to do a 4th part as like a conclusion to all this, to kind of collect all the feedback from all the episodes and then release that 4th episode to kind of go through those counter arguments. But with the combination of kind of reassessing how I'm going over the next few episodes, and I started school this week, and it was my first time at a real university, whereas I was at a community college before, and boy, was I not expecting the workload to increase nearly as much as it did. So I'm going to take the next 2 weeks and kind of assess like what that new school workload looks like, reassessing things for the future of The Grind, and then in about like 2, maybe 3 weeks, I'll be posting episodes again once every week. So look forward to that. Sorry that I didn't keep with that cadence I kind of wanted to, but I think that the feedback I'm getting is valid enough. I do need to reassess kind of the future. And I can actually post the Reddit post so people can see the feedback for themselves if they really want to. But
you know the old Miyamoto quote, "A delayed game is eventually good," but let's talk about Microsoft Xbox.
Before we do that, I have to poop so bad.
Okay.
And I'm
While you
just
poop,
calling it out.
I'm going to talk through the specs. I'm just going to let everyone know the specs, the difference between the two. Or do you
All right,
want
I'll be
to?
right
Do you
back.
think it's going to be a long poop and we should just hold for a moment?
Hold slide.
Okay, everyone.
Never
we're gonna,
know.
We're going to let Holden go poop. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to Respawn Aim Fire, the official podcast where you get updated on Holden's bowel movements.
You're welcome.
We are jumping in to our main quest, the Xbox launch info we've been waiting for. The droids we are looking for are here. Here's how this is going to work. We're going to run down what was announced about the Series S. We are going to talk about the price and the release date. And then we're going to talk about what does this mean? Is this good? Is this bad? Does this influence you to get one? If so, which one? Etc., etc. Let's start with introducing the Xbox Series S, delivering next-gen performance in our smallest Xbox ever. Available November 10th at $299, says Liz Hamron at Xbox Wire.
Boom.
Well, there's a lot of the info I just said we were going to talk about. So alongside the Series X, the Series S was announced this week on accident as it was leaked. Here's the rundown. It is a digital-only alternative to the Series X. It has a similar compute power in its CPU to the Series X. It's just underclocked a little bit. It has a GPU. That's where the main difference is between the two consoles. The Series X has a 12 teraflop GPU. Series S has 4 teraflops. The big difference when it comes to the GPU is the Xbox Series X is meant to push 4K at 120 frames per second, up to 120 frames per second, but consistently 4K 60. Whereas the Series S caps out at 1440p native at up to 120 frames per second, with the ability to upscale to a 4K television when that comes out. If you're connected to a 4K TV. So 1440p versus 4K is essentially the difference there. It still has the same NVMe SSD on the inside. It is a 512 hard drive on the Series S versus the 1 terabyte on the Series X. It does have the expansion slot available for the 1 terabyte Seagate expansion drive. It has 10 gigs of RAM versus the Series X's 16 gigabytes of RAM, a little bit slower version of RAM as well. And
Significantly slower.
Significantly slower RAM, yeah. The big whopping difference is it is almost half the price of the Series X. The Series X was revealed to be $500 or $499 US, whereas the Series S is a next-gen console coming in at $299. So essentially, you get the same velocity architecture, you get the same benefits of the SSD, you get the same up to 120 frames per second, the high frame rate versus the resolution. You get the ability to upscale to 4K, and you get it all for $300 for a next-gen console. We also learned that it's coming November 10th. So we have the release date. That's that Tuesday, November 10th, the same date that Assassin's Creed Valhalla releases. Coincidence? Probably not. And then I believe we have... So we'll talk about this next story here just because I think we've almost covered all of it. The Xbox Series X pre-orders open September 22nd. That's this upcoming week after you hear this podcast. And it releases November 10th. It says Jenny Leda at Siliconera. We know the pricing. They also announced that they are expanding Xbox All Access, which is something that they started in the U.S., that subscription service that you get a console and 2 years of Game Pass for one monthly price. Game Pass Ultimate, sorry. The Series S will be $24.99. The Series X will be $35 or $34.99 for 24 months. And then they also released a graphic that says the Xbox One S will be $22.99 as part of that as well. So all of that includes Game Pass. The Series S comes at a significant discount. You basically get it for, I think it was around 80% the price if you take the full price of the Game Pass out of that subscription. Series X gets, I think it's like 96%, so like $20 discount after you take out the Xbox Game Pass from that. Holden, this new access is also coming to 17 retailers in 12 different territories, so it's expanding significantly over the globe. Does the Xbox Series S do anything for you? Is it a smart move? Are you going to get one?
when I get an Xbox, I'm definitely going to get the Series S. I have a 4K monitor, so like I would benefit from having the Series X, but that price difference is significant, and I'm fine with having 1440p on my games. That's not going to bother me that much. The hard drive being smaller is concerning because that's already half the size of the hard drive I currently have in my Xbox One S. But I'll just get a the expandable slot storage, whenever that comes out.
I just wanted to mention, the rumored price of that storage is $220.
So I looked up the NVMe 4.0 if you were to get like an internal SSD, and the price difference actually is not that significant. So I don't think that they're actually that. The big issue, I think, is that they don't have smaller hard drive sizes to get. You can't get a 256 gig one, a 512. It looks like you're only able to get 1 terabyte, but it's comparably priced with other 1 terabyte internal SSDs. So if you consider the fact that they're probably miniaturizing it, they're putting some nice little hardware so it clips in really easy, like with great ease. I actually don't think it's a terrible price. It is a lot of money, but compared to a similar product, I don't think it's that bad, and that comes from pricing on Newegg. But I still think the Series S is the way to go. Digital only sounds good to me. I got no problems with that. It seems like a great deal, and especially if you can get approved for all access, that's an even better deal. Like, why wouldn't you do that? I'm really impressed with the Series S, and I think that it's something Sony has to respond to, I feel, because the next gen PlayStation 5, there's no way the digital version is going to cost $300. There's just no way it can get that low. So this is huge for Microsoft. Yeah.
It's also worth mentioning that it is tiny. This box is the smallest Xbox ever made. It is 11 inches by 6 inches. 6 inches. That's like half the size of my penis. That's crazy. You can comfortably hold it in one hand. There's been a lot, like they sent dummy units to a bunch of outlets. You can see people holding them side by side, comparing them. It's crazy how small this thing is. Aesthetically, it's an interesting choice. It is a white box with a big black air vent on it that looks like a speaker. To me, I think the funniest one is the one you sent where it's the drive-through order. It's like, it looks like the speaker box at a drive-through. There are a lot of fun memes out there about it. But
and Microsoft's playing along with them really funny. They're being very playful with it. They're not.
Are they?
So there'll be tweets where someone posts like, "Hi, can I get a Pepsi with that?" It's like, "Sir, this is an Xbox," and then Microsoft will respond to that and just say, "Sir, this is an Xbox Series S." Like, they're being pretty fun with it. It's good to see that.
I think if you look at it not from the like, oh my gosh, it has almost all the things the Series X does, but if you instead flip it and say, what is it missing? Well, you're really only missing the Blu-ray drive, a 4K Blu-ray drive.
Yeah.
You are missing half the storage. And you're missing some compute power in the GPU. And by some, I mean a lot of compute power in the GPU, but it doesn't matter if you're upscaling to 4K. And like you mentioned, 1440p with some decent upscaling on a 4K monitor will still look pretty good.
Yeah.
It is pretty significant, the amount of market share I think this is going to take this
think this is going to be the default... At least the default Xbox for people to get.
Yeah.
Like we were talking earlier that most people are going into, are looking for higher frame rates as opposed to higher resolution.
Right.
And this lines up with that perfectly. Yeah. People who care about the resolution, you can get the Series X, but for everyone else, the Series S is perfect.
Let's talk about real quick. I want to compare it to like the One X and the One S. A lot of people, I had predicted that whatever the Lockhart, which turned out to be the Series S, would basically be a 1X, but with the new architecture and the SSD to take advantage of all that stuff. And it turns out it's pretty close to that, with only a little bit of difference in RAM. I believe the 1X has 1 or 2 gigabytes more of RAM available than the Series S. So there will be a couple of compromises, most notably backwards compatibility games that had 1X enhancements. You won't be able to see those same enhancements on Series S, but you still will see some other differences as well. But essentially, it's a 1X with the faster hard drive, with the higher compute power. They're also selling the One S alongside these two consoles. And if the Xbox All Access pricing of $23 a month is like any kind of good comparison, it looks like that's going to be around $199, which I think maybe it's at $250 right now, or maybe it's at $199. It's a pretty significant jump over that. The One S can technically do 1440p, but it cannot upscale to 4K. So if you have a 4K monitor, it actually just shows 1080p. And it obviously can't do anywhere near 120 frames per second. It has no HDR. No. This will have HDR. Series S and Series X, they also announced that this thing, the leaked thing that no longer is going to be shown because it doesn't need to be, they both will be the first gaming experiences with Dolby Vision built in, which is like the best HDR that's available right now. And that comes with the Series S as well. It's amazing how much they were able to pack into this box without compromises. Now, it has been rumored that they are taking one fuck ton of a loss on this console, though. Like, in the multiple hundreds of dollars per console loss. But I think they're going to make up for it, obviously, with services. If you get the Xbox All Access, that's 2 years of Game Pass to get you hooked, and then it's such a good value, you're obviously going to continue from there. If you get this and it becomes your primary gaming machine, you're going to be buying third-party games on it. You're going to be buying first-party games on it. I do think it is a little bit of a miss. It's not significant enough, but it's a little bit of a miss for it to be the more accessible, affordable console and not be able to buy used games for it. The fact that it's missing a drive. That's for families who are really like frugal and maybe they only buy a few games a year, or their kids and they buy them like a bunch of games at Christmas or something like that. Like, used games is a really big thing, a way to afford things, trade in other games so you can get new games. And that's a little bit of a miss that they can't do that on here. However, again, like, Game Pass kind of takes care of that. If you want something new, especially now that EA Play is involved, like, you have a whole new catalog of things you didn't know about or you didn't have access to before. So I don't know. I think overall it's a huge step forward. And you mentioned when you get one, or if you get one, it's going to be a Series S, right?
100%, yeah.
Do you think, and you currently have a 1S.
I have a 1S, yeah.
And you see this as enough of an upgrade to get a Series S. Do you think if someone has a 1X that the Series S is enough of an upgrade to justify an extra $300?
I don't think that the consumer who would want to get the pricier, better-looking last-generation console would opt for the lower-end next-gen console. So I think that if you bought a 1X, the chances of you going to a Series S is already very low. You're going to go to a Series X if you're going to upgrade at all, I think, at that point. I think for most people who have, that's my point.
I think that Microsoft kind of is right there along with you, and that's their belief. They talked about in that little that 30-minute video press release, that the One X was really a console that was for the most dedicated gamers that wanted to play on the most powerful console, that get the most out of it. Whereas the Series S, while it's similarly spec'd, they're going in saying this is something that's that's making it more accessible to a wider audience at launch. They mentioned that that's specifically a goal, is that a lot of people, a new generation, they feel left out and they can't take part in it because the consoles are so expensive. They have to wait for them to come down in price. So this is really their answer to letting more people in on next-gen features at a much smaller cost.
The big thing, I think, with upgrading, regardless of going to Series X or Series S, is the NVMe drive. I think that regardless of which one you upgrade to, that is going to be hugely beneficial. It's going to benefit you in having the multiple resumes, and it's also going to benefit you just the faster loading times, all that kind of stuff. That I feel like that's the big reason to go up to next gen, especially on Xbox.
That, as you mentioned, the NVMe drive, like the 512 was another point of contention for me. It was like, for a digital-only console, that's a small hard drive. And you mentioned they do have the Seagate expansion drive, even though it's going to be almost the price of the console itself just to get that drive. But there are two other things to consider. One is that Game Pass that you have for 2 years, if you go all access, includes xCloud, and you don't even have to have any hard drive space for that. You can stream it all. But also for all of their games, you can use a 3.1 USB drive as well. It'll be slower. Obviously, you won't be able to take advantage of the load times and things like that, especially if it's something that is enhanced for next gen. You won't see those enhancements if you're running them off of that drive.
I think they said it's also going to be easy, though, to switch back and forth between that game being stored on your internal hard drive and the 3.1 USB drive.
Yeah.
So that it won't be too bad.
Overall, I'm very excited, very, very excited for Microsoft for having this available at launch. It's going to be great for them. I do notice the switch in where they're previous to this month had been all about like, we don't believe in generations anymore. You play an Xbox game wherever you want. And then in the reveal and talking about this, they say the words next gen like 35,000 times. And they're like, oh yeah, and in generation 9, we're doing this. And then this is a new generation. People want to get into the new generation of consoles. And we're just like, all right, you're kind of shifting your strategy a bit. But I think it's more evident than ever with All Access and with the digital-only platform and their commitment to Game Pass that they are selling an Xbox ecosystem, they are selling a service, they are selling a platform, and these are just different ways that you can get into it. And I'm very excited about where that goes in the future. I don't know if this new affordable option kind of reinvigorates them caring about the number of consoles that are out there anymore. Because I had kind of resigned myself to saying, like, the Series X is coming out this year, but I don't think they see success as selling the most consoles anymore. They see success as subscribers, as people who are playing Xbox games. But with this, it's kind of a move to be like, oh, maybe they do want to sell more consoles than PlayStation again.
Why not both?
Why not? I don't know. That being said, Holden, I'm not getting an Xbox Series S. And I know that I never play my Xbox. But guess who's pre-ordering a Series X on September 22nd? For no fucking reason, because I'm an idiot.
So why the Series X? Just the 4K?
4K for sure, because I'm a whore. And I need that visual fidelity. Like, I need Dolby Vision. If my TV is going to have Dolby Vision, I'm going to be playing in Dolby Vision. I also recognize that I almost never play my Xbox. And if I'm never going to play my Xbox, then when I do play it, I don't want it to be a dated version by the time I get to it. Like, if it's going to be, oh, man, I'm going to wait for a release to come out, and it's like 2 years down the road into the launch cycle. I'm like, cool, let me go play it. But by this time, like, my old console, there's a new version of it that's available, and it can do all these things that, like, I can't take advantage of this console. Like, I'm going to get the good one now so that I can take advantage of all that stuff later. Because I don't plan on... Let me back up a second. There's the group of people who will buy, let's take shoes, for example. A group of people who will buy a $130 pair of shoes, and it will last them 10 years. And there's a group of people who say, fuck that, I'm never going to buy a $130 pair of shoes. I'm going to buy a $25 pair of shoes. But they do that every 8 months because those shoes fall apart, and they have to just keep getting new shoes. I'm going to buy the expensive shit and let it last me a while kind of person, not the I'm going to upgrade every so often, except when it comes to phones, when I buy the expensive one every year. So yeah, I'm getting the Series X largely because when something comes out, maybe the Medium this fall. I honestly can't think of anything that I'm going to play on it this fall, but I'm going to get it at launch. But here's the other real reason. This is the shittiest thing. Because I have my Xbox One S, and when I replace it, I'm going to give my One S to my sister's family, who only has PlayStation stuff. And I don't want to have to ship it to them. So I might as well get it while I'm here in North Carolina and just drop it off at their house.
Actually,
rather than pay $50 to ship it across the country whenever I do eventually get it.
No, that makes total sense. If you can afford to do it now, why not just do it now and make that process easier for you now?
Yep. I'm going to do the same thing with my PlayStation. My brother's a Microsoft family, so when I upgrade a PS5, my PS4 is going to his family. So I'm such a good person.
Reason. I have a question for you. So before we started recording, you texted the group chat about this Series V rumor.
I did what?
I think it was you, at least.
The hell are you talking about, son?
Yeah, in our group chat. Xbox Series... sorry. Virtual press briefing, I saw the letter V in virtual and put 2 and 2 together, the other thought. But there is a rumor of a Series V console. I was wondering if you had seen it or not. I don't believe it.
I had not seen the rumor, but if you watched the virtual press briefing, they very much were like, we are so happy now to finally have all of our cards on the table and show you Generation 9 console. Like, they were, multiple times they said, this is the console. Like, these are the 2 things that we have. This is everything we've got. Which kind of, there had always been rumors that there's going to be just a streaming-based only console and not even have a hard drive or anything like that. But I think after hearing that virtual briefing, that's not on the cards right now.
Series V rumor is even dumber than that. It's not even like a streaming stick. It's literally a $400, but like a little bit less powerful than the Series X, and it doesn't have a disk drive, but it's significantly more powerful than the Series S, and it's again $400. It's like, no, that's definitely not gonna happen.
So
they're not gonna announce.
It's the digital only PS5 version of the Series X.
Yeah, but it's a little bit less powerful. But basically, it's that. Yeah. And it's a ridiculous rumor because Microsoft wouldn't say, hey, pre-order is opening up next week and the console comes out November 10th. And then next week go, psych, we're actually announcing a third console. Like,
and
it's
you can't
ridiculous,
cancel your pre-orders, bitches.
It's a very strange rumor to pop up at that moment. I thought it was really funny. I was curious what your thoughts were. But that's our Xbox stuff.
Bullshit. That's our Xbox stuff. VXite. I'm curious if anyone else is, like, after seeing this, if anyone wasn't going to get an Xbox and this convinced them to, I want to hear from you. Give me a call. 704-867-5309.
Chad?
That's not my real phone number. That's a song.
Do we have a Game On Game Show?
We do. We have a Game On Game Show. The Game On Our Gaming Show where we play a game called Game On. The game show on our game. Game. Holden.
Yes.
We've got a game today called Quiz Me, Captain. It's me, Margaret.
I knew this was coming. I knew it.
It's so fun. Quiz Me, Captain. It's me, Margaret. We were assing the other night. Ass. Avengers assembling. And Matt said that oftentimes when we play this game, he is literally shouting at you in the car while he's listening to it. He's like, "It's this! You're missing this!" So, and then the discussion was like, "This is people's favorite game." So we're playing a little bit.
I'm
more
really
Quiz Me,
bad
Captain.
at this game. I'm pretty tremendously terrible at it.
It's so fun. I try to make it achievable, but also trip you up at the same time.
Oh, you trip me up every time, every single time.
You have won once, didn't you? Because I shoved Squirtle in my mouth. Oh, no, I think I actually gave that to you. Like, you didn't win, but you came close, so I shoved Squirtle in my mouth. You have won one, though. Anyway, here's how Quiz Me Captain, It's Me, Margaret works. There are 4 rounds. Each has a different time limit. Let me get my timer up. And each has a different requirement. It is a game show of sorts in which you have to answer correct questions. If you answer every single round correctly and you move on through all 4 rounds, you get a super secret prize. However, if you fail a round, you still have to keep going and play the rest of the game. You just don't get the prize. Holden, round 1 is a 30-second round. It consists of 1 task for you to do in that 30 seconds to complete in the time limit for the success of the round. Are you ready, Holden, for round 1 of Quiz Me, Captain? It's me, Margaret.
No, but let's go ahead.
All right, Quiz Me, Captain. It's me, Margaret. Round 1, 30 seconds on the clock, starting now. Name 6 Xbox consoles.
Xbox One. Xbox OG, Xbox, Xbox 360,
3.
Xbox 360 Elite,
4.
Xbox Series X,
5.
Xbox Series S.
6.
And
Congratulations, you won.
Oh, that was 6. Okay.
That was 6. You did that in 17 seconds. You're on a roll right now. You're on a roll.
A roll of 1.
A roll of 1. Snake eyes. All right, round 2. This one is double the time. You have 60 seconds for this round, but you have a little bit more work to do to accomplish. Holden.
This one's always impossible. It's always impossible.
I think this one's going to be okay for you.
Okay.
The second round, 60 seconds on the clock for Quiz Me, Captain. It's me, Margaret. Are you ready?
No, but let's go ahead anyway.
Round 2. 60 seconds on the clock starts now. What are 4 systems on which you can play Skyrim?
Amazon Alexa,
Amazon
Xbox
Alexa,
360, PlayStation 3, and PS4.
4. Correct. Name 2 more systems on which Skyrim can be played.
Nintendo Switch, Xbox One.
Perfect. Name 3 yearly gaming conventions.
E3, Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show.
Correct. Say Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 twice.
Can you say it again?
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
Incorrect.
Dragon Ball... Which number was it?
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
Nope. 15
I
seconds.
can't even say it once.
Say Dragon Ball Z. Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
Budokai. Okay, Dragon Ball Z, Budokai Tenkaichi 3. What's the last one? I keep getting it messed up.
Budokai Tenkaichi 3. Time is up. Oh, Holden, you don't know how
Tenkaichi
close
3?
you were.
Dragon Ball Z,
Ball Z.
Budokai
Tenkaichi.
Tenkaichi. I kept putting a K instead of the H. Okay, gotcha. I was very close. I was
You
a
were
K
so
off.
close.
Or H off, I mean.
You spent about 25 seconds failing that one.
Yeah, like I said, they're always impossible, Chad. Fuck you. They're always impossible.
You were so close. If you just would have gotten that one, do you know what the last question in this that you totally would have gotten right off the bat?
What's that?
What is Amy Hennig's last name?
I don't know.
All right, you do not get the super special prize, but you do get to continue on to round 3. This one's a 20-second round, and it usually has to do with convincing me of something. Holden, make your argument for round 3 of Quiz Me Captain. It's me, Margaret. Are you ready?
Yes.
20 seconds on the clock, starting now. Convince me why Mario Kart 9 does not need to happen.
Because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is already the premier Mario Kart experience. It has so many great tracks. Its online actually isn't bad considering it's a Nintendo game. You can make your own room and play with people online without any bullshit. That's a pretty good reason. But also, what are they going to add at this point?
Time is up. I'm
It's
sorry.
perfect.
The correct answer was you can have 2 items. There's one
That
final
wouldn't have
round.
convinced you. That's bullshit.
One final round, Holden. This one is 30 seconds long. I have 10 pairs of things that are somehow related to gaming. You need to choose the correct item of the 2 pairs. Correct does not necessarily mean good or bad. It just means whichever one I think is correct. You need 4 correct answers in 30 seconds. Are you ready for
Yes.
round 4, the final round of Quiz Me Captain?
This one I
It's me,
usually
Margaret.
get.
30 seconds on the clock, starting now. Did you know that in select markets you can get 8 of Burger King's new spicy chicken nuggets for just $1 for a limited time? Yes or no?
Yes.
No, you did not know that ahead of time. Tomb Raider or Resident Evil?
Resident Evil.
No, Tomb Raider was the better movie. Sweet Tooth or Axel?
Sweet Tooth.
Hell yeah. GTA or BMX?
BMX.
Sweet GBA or Xbox Series X?
Xbox Series X.
Oh, wrong. Tabletop games or... Oh, I'm sorry. Time is up. Holden, you only get 2
What was-
of the required 4.
Wait, it was Series X and what?
GBA.
Oh, you said something beforehand. So was it Sweet? I was okay. I was
No,
going to get
said-
it anyway.
You said GTA or... I said GTA or BMX, and you said BMX, and I said sweet, as if like correct, yes.
Oh, and then you went right into okay, gotcha. I'm like, sweet GB. What it was probably Series X thing, because I don't know what the other one was.
No, it was a Game Boy Advance. Holden.
That
did
was my
not win
worst
the final
performance in a
round.
while.
Yeah. You fucking did not know about the spicy chicken nuggets for $1 8 count at Burger King for a limited time.
I
in specific
absolutely did know
locations.
that.
No, you did not.
I was at
No,
Burger
you did
King
not.
this week. I knew that.
Did you
And
recognize
how
the
dare you
spicy
say
chicken
I don't know that?
That was in response to the last time we played this game, where I mentioned that you could get a 20-piece chicken nugget at Burger King for $4.99, in which Joel, who is from Pixel Street Podcast, we did just the Among Us Let's Play with them, sent us a picture, sent Matt and I a picture of himself at Burger King at the drive-thru with a picture of an 8 count for $1, and he called bullshit. And I said, sir, here are 2 websites that prove you differently. And I said at the bottom of his, it said limited time only. So I needed to update our game to take into account the fact that in Chicago, for a limited time at that select location, you can get 8 of Burger King's new spicy chicken nuggets for just $1. It's amazing.
That's happening here as well, I think, too, isn't it?
I
It's
don't know.
not a
Are you part of the
national-
select markets? It
I
is
didn't
not
know
available
about
here
that.
in Mint Hill, North Carolina. I know that for sure. Everyone, go to download the Burger King app and check in your area if you can get 8. 8. That's a lot. That's a good amount of chicken nuggets in their new spicy flavor. 8 Burger King spicy chicken nuggets for just $1 for a limited time. Check in the Burger King app and send us a screenshot and a picture of them after you've ordered them. We are
Hashtag not sponsored by.
Burger King. Oh, Holden, that's it for Game on Game Show, and that is it for episode 178. Thank you, everyone, for going on a ride. That's another callback to Marvel vs. Capcom 2. which we ended 2 weeks ago's episode with. Or maybe last week. I don't know. Time is a flat circle. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Remember, you have some homework to do. Go play Horizon Zero Dawn. You do not have to be a patron to play the game, but you do have to play it before October 31st, or else Nintendo takes it away. You have to go to patreon.com, download our cool new Thor wallpapers, and by Thor I mean Avengers wallpapers. And then also go take our poll for, what's the poll this week going to be?
For PlayStation 5 release date.
PS5 release date. Goodbye, Dallas. Here's our usual sign off. Ass.